Hey, welcome back to our channel. In tonight's video, we will be discussing the topic of should you be moving to Canada or should you be moving to the USA? Of course, I know you might be in this dilemma of where should I be moving? So now we have a special guest. I'm representing Canada and Abigail will be representing the US. So you'll have your options to see the comparison between Canada and US. We're both nurses. We have something in common where we're both Jamaican trained nurses. And we both decided that we needed a change. And we took this bold step to pack up from Jamaica and come to foreign. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. So welcome, Abigail, to our channel, to our YouTube family tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. You're welcome. So let's kick off the questions now. Tell me about your first year in the US. How did you move and what process did you move from Jamaica to US?
My first year in the US, I think it wasn't, even the other day I was saying this to myself, that it wasn't, many people said that they struggled in their first year. I really didn't experience much of that. And that's because I'm a planner. Before I left Jamaica, I had a journal and I wrote down everything in my book of how everything is going to flow in terms of finances, in terms of family structure. So before I left Jamaica, I had 3 jobs. Before I left my main job, I think I left my main job first. That was working at the hospital, and I had 2 other part-time jobs where I was teaching. So I made sure when say, for instance, if I left in January, I resigned from my other jobs by the first week of January, and then by the second week, I was in the US. So that cash flow was coming in when I came here on top of the money that I would receive from working with the hospital. So that sort of gave me a little coverage or leverage and not to make the transition so hard. So in terms of family structure, I make sure family was there to support. In terms of children, I have a son.
Yes.
So I made sure family was here to support because I know childcare is very expensive. So
Needed to get
So who needed to get a visa, got a visa and started out from before. I said before, I am a planner. And I strongly believe in this, that if you're making moves like this, if you're using an agency, I always tell myself, I support the agencies and I thank them for the opportunity, but they're doing a business. And that's where it stops. So you have to make sure that you have everything laid out. And if a ball drops, you should be able to pick it up. They may be able to assist you in most cases, but for me, it was staying ahead of the game.
Right.
And I think that helped. I think that helped a lot in my transition, financially, family structure, knowing where I wanted to go. I did have issues in terms of the first year and getting to know the place and getting used to the hospital systems. But in terms of an overall first year, I think I adjusted pretty well.
Pretty well. Well, good for you. Kudos to you. I think has a lot to do with it. So I guess you made your relocation plan, right?
Yeah.
I would strongly encourage that. Actually, I'm in the process of putting together a relocation guide. So I'll let you guys know when that's available for purchase. I'll put it in the description below. But definitely, you need your checklist. If you haven't downloaded the checklist, go and grab it. I have a free checklist of what's the things you need to pack. And definitely, you need a plan because if you don't have a plan, there is a big opportunity there for you to fail, right? So that is good. I find for me, my first year was a big struggle. I did not do the plan as you plan out your whole thing. We're just like, okay, here I am, Canada, I'm coming to Canada. The most I got myself prepared was packing and having the right documents, employment letter and stuff like those. But I didn't have a structured plan. I knew who I was coming to live with. And I knew that the first step would be to pass the nursing exam, and that would be like my passport blueprint to get me on off the ground running. So that's good that your first year went well and everything started out for you. That's good. Tell us, why did you choose the US?
I chose US based on the opportunities for growth in terms of the nursing profession. As being a planner, as before, I did my research on all the other top countries. I narrowed them down to Canada, the UK, I did research and read even studies about why nurses are moving to different places and why nurses choose various countries, compare the market, the cost of living. And I realized that the United States gave a better opportunity or a quicker opportunity to move up the ladder of success. Not to say that the others don't do it, but the system for me was more easier, and that is why I chose it.
Right. And I think I can agree with that in comparison with Canada. You know, Canada is calling out for nurses, and it's a process. It's still a process. I've been in groups, in Facebook groups where nurses, they say they contact NNAS and they're waiting for response, lack of response. So I find, looking from the outside, from Canada's point of view, and compared to like friends who have known that transition to the US, I see it's quicker, it's a faster process, less delayed.
Right.
I find Canada a little bit more laid back when it comes on. Yes, they're advertising, we need nurses, but they need to be more aggressive. So the pros and cons I find in America, they're more aggressive with the recruitment process.
Right.
And what agency did you use?
I used O'Grady Payton. And another thing where I chose the US too, I had co-workers back home and many of them gave advice. I listened to them, make sure you use this company, and I even maintain contact with them, follow them on social media. You know, they'll share their success stories and you see, wow, this is happening here. This is where I want to go.
That's good. That is good. And you had mentioned that you had support system in the first year also, right? Because that's another crucial part when we decide to migrate, to move from our friends or families, and with a lack of support, that can be a big disadvantage when you're moving to a strange place, a new place. But for you, you had friends who went through the process, who could guide you, could be your guiding light through the journey, show you the roadmap, you know, which way to go, what to do, how to do it. So that's a plus. For me, when I moved to Canada too, I had that side of support. A friend of mine, she had already been through the process. So she walked me through it, you know, the first week after landing, do this, do that. So it's very important. So the process I used was a Canadian Skilled Workers program. Right. So I didn't use an agency. I did my application by myself without lawyers or agencies or anything like that. Yeah, so that's the difference, guys. At the time, and I find each time there is one country that's in more aggressive recruiting than the other.
Yes. And we know who that is.
And that's how I came to Canada, because at the time, the Canadian Skilled Worker Program was a big thing at the time in when did I move? 2011. So that was a faster way at the time, faster route to get here. And how long you've been in US?
I think about 4 years now, almost 3 to 4 years right now. Time moves fast.
Yes.
I can tell you, it moves.
And where are you located?
I'm in North Carolina.
So you're at the big money city.
Can I ask who gave you that information? Because I need to know where it is.
I've heard that the states, hear me talk about city, not like me there, Canada. The state that pays the highest is California. Isn't it California?
No, I love to be in California. It's North Carolina.
Okay. North Carolina. Oh, yes. Yes, I got it wrong.
I would love to be in California right now.
Yes. California, yeah. So North Carolina. And how is the weather there?
Well, the weather, I saw a meme shared on social media, and this is it. You wake up in the morning, it's winter. By afternoon, it is summer. And then by later in the evening, a bit of fall, and then winter again.
Just like Canada.
Take your winter coat to work, you're coming out back in hot sun. It's unstable.
Yes, the same thing with Canada. So how was your first winter experience? You know, we're coming from the tropical island, we have sun, sand, and sea, and then coming out to this country where we have 4 different seasons. How did you transition and survive that process?
Winter wasn't so much of a winter, because when I came here, it was extremely cold for me, and it was not winter. Okay. Can I tell you that I even researched the weather? Yes, I did.
Guys, if you need a researcher or a planner to get you into the US, then this is the person you need to contact. Our social media name is the name she goes by in social media, the Empowered RN. Empowered
Right.
RN. So she will help you to plan everything, right?
Yes. So when I came, it wasn't winter as yet. But my first winter, it was extremely cold, but I adjusted. As I said before, I knew persons who were here already. So they told me, I said, oh my God, it's cold. They said, listen, set your heater to 75. Don't let it move. Watch that light bill. Layer upon layer. And the reason why I say this, I want people to know that it's important when you're moving somewhere that you have people that you actually know there or have gone before you.
True.
I have met some persons who have said that they don't want to go anywhere where persons are already, but if you have gone the path that I want to go, I want to know where you're going so I can avoid the pitfalls.
Right.
So that was very important. It helped me to adjust. And the winter wasn't so bad because we didn't have snow, but we had snow the following year, I think.
Okay.
And it was okay, but it just lasted for one day and I thank God. And I wasn't at work.
Wow. So I'm assuming that you landed in around fall.
Yes.
So from fall to winter. For me, it was a little bit better, a little easier because I landed in spring. So, from spring, you transition into summer, then fall, then winter. So that was an advantage, I believe, the timing of landing.
Yeah.
And it was not easy because, Canada, we have a lot of snow a lot.
Yeah.
It's up
very
to
cold.
almost my knees at the time, my very first winter. Wasn't driving. I didn't get my RN license yet. Was to do survival jobs. Taking the bus. Did you have to take the bus?
No, not a good transportation system here. Yeah, I would love to take the bus.
No bus. Okay. Yeah, I took the bus for almost a year when I just came to Canada. Yep. So getting used to the bus system and the timing of the bus and
right.
Yeah. It's yeah. So our first year is very different. Yours was like a smooth walk in the park, where mine was a lot of struggles, uphill, downhill.
Right.
That is, if you've been following me for a while, you know my previous videos where I talk about my worst experiences.
Yes.
It depends on the person. Not everybody will struggle through their first year after moving. Some do, so you can compare. So now let's talk about nursing. So we're both nurses, as I just mentioned, both Jamaican trained nurses. How long have you been a nurse?
I think I'm now 7 years.
Okay, nice. Yes. And how
9 years.
9 years is we lose track after. I guess after 5 years we just lose track.
Right.
Yeah. So tell us about now the differences. Jamaican nursing compared to US nursing. How do you find the differences? What are the differences?
Major difference for me is definitely technology. It's a vast difference. I think care is similar, but technology is a vast difference. Lots of resources to work with, but Jamaican care still remains the same. And that's something that I see. And other differences, I know that the US healthcare system model is totally different from back home also. And, everything is insurance related, but back home is different with regards to that, with free healthcare with regards to that. But the major difference for me is definitely technology. And I'm very passionate about Jamaica and its healthcare system. And I wish we would get to the point of having that technology back home. And it's not, when we speak technology, we think like it's a big thing. We have to get these big monitors, everything. It is not. There are some simple devices that we can use that actually can help us. Just a computer that you can use to walk around with.
Yes.
If we had that back in Jamaica, superb.
Yeah. I must agree on that. Yeah, I did talk about that too as one of the main differences comparing Canada to Jamaica, nursing in Canada versus nursing in Jamaica. So that's one of them. What are the pros? What are some of the pros and cons of being a nurse here versus Jamaica?
Definitely a pro being a nurse in the US is the opportunities, the growth, the ability to move up. You don't have to be asking people if you want to go study. That's something that I saw.
You
don't need to write.
You lick it
on the
right
head.
on the nail. I did mention that, and that's one of the things that upset me so much when I was in Jamaica. Wanted to do a course and you have to go through the hospital, go through the managers, and if them deny it, then you're just like, stop.
Right. And that was one of the main reasons why I didn't do any courses back in Jamaica, because I said, I'm paying my money. I don't need to write a letter. So you can come on a unit, you just get your experience, and then you even take a certification exam. You don't have to ask anybody, pay your money, and you move up. The ability to move around. You can go on a unit, spend 3 months. If you don't like it, you just move. You don't need to ask anybody anything. And the ability, I would definitely going to talk about in terms of pay, much better. And you have the ability to do travel nursing. You don't have to stay at one hospital. And you can move around, and you can just basically go in any field, any direction that you want. And that's one of the major pros of being a nurse in the US for me.
Yes, I do agree. The independence and the freedom.
Right.
It's here too in Canada. That's one of the reasons why I moved. I wanted to explore too. So Canada, it's the same. You want to do a course, you go, you pay your money. When you join certain nursing professional bodies, you can be reimbursed, right? For the courses that you take. You can move from one area to the next. So that's similar to, you know, working in med surg, and like it, you move to psych. You move to geriatric, to peds. So it's open for moving around and the opportunity to elevate, to level up, right?
Right.
That sounds pretty similar, guys, compared to Canada and the US. So that's the similarities with the freedom and the independence there.
Right.
How was the culture shock for you as a nurse in the US?
Culture shock would be with regards to nursing or just overall?
Mostly nursing. How did you find it in nursing?
Culture shock, it was the first culture shock I got was when you came here, you call your manager by the first name. So if your manager is Sarah, you say Sarah. I'm like, I can't say Sarah, it's Miss or Mrs. Sarah. And I still I call one of my managers Madam or Miss. She was like, what are you calling me that, Abigail? So that was one of the that was one of the biggest culture shock for me. The level of autonomy that you have as a nurse over here is sometimes it blows my mind that you can interact with the doctors like that. Certain things, I know that I struggle with that, because back home, you know, you have to wait on doctors to do certain stuff. Here, it was a bit different. If you didn't do it, the doctor was like, so what you waiting on?
Yeah.
You know?
You get a telephone order, you know, or a verbal order. Yeah. Page there, right there. Yeah, man, do that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of my culture shock. Definitely the working the different hours too was a culture shock for me. Working 12 hours, like if you're working day duty, it's like from 6 to 6. Back home in Jamaica, you'll be turning in your bed for 6 o'clock. You know? So, and the ability to work 3 days a week, and then you're done. You have the rest of your week for yourself. That was like a culture shock for me also. Uniform, not to mention that. Nobody watching you, whether you have on your nursing hat or your nails done or your hair is on the shoulder. Nobody care about that. They just want to see you show up. And I tell people, just show up and have blood running through you. They just want the hands.
Show up and do your work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was some of the culture shocks that I endured. And not to mention, there's going to be culture shocks in terms of language when you're speaking, you know, people not understanding you, not knowing where you come from, and all of that. So those were some of the experiences.
Yes, definitely. So let's do a little bit of comparison between the nursing, like the schedule in Canada versus US. For us, there are some agencies and hospitals that still do the 7 to 3, 2 to 10, like 3 to 11 starter shift and night shifts, right? But in the hospital that I work currently, it's 12. So it's usually, you call it the continental shifts, where you work on 3s and 2s. So for a pay period of 2 weeks, you would work 7 12-hour shifts. Is that works for you also in the States?
you have 12-hour shift depending on the facilities that you work, because I know some facilities they do scheduling, like some people will work 8 to 4, you have 2 to 10. So it depends on the type of facility. For the major hospitals, I know they do 3/12s for that. But if you're working, I know some psych hospitals, they do have flexibility within that. So you have to work 3 days a week. You can do block scheduling also. If you want to work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with regards to that. And they do have flexibility if you're going to do like an overtime shift and you want to split the shift. Say, for instance, you just want to work the first half of the shift and then get somebody else to pick up for that.
Okay.
But for my hospital, it's definitely just 3/12s for the week. And that's another big thing of working over here that I forgot to talk about, the ability to do overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
Nobody cares. If you're working too much and you're concerned about your safety, they will say something, but you have overtime galore.
Yes. We have that too. Especially throughout the pandemic, we find a lot of nurses, either they leave, they move, they start in travel nursing. So there was a lot of overtime shifts in the hospital.
Right.
They're reaching out, calling people, begging people to do shifts. So I guess that's the same thing there. They can pick, choose, and refuse to pick up shifts.
Yes.
Shifts, right? And what is the starting rate for nurses there?
But the starting rate in North Carolina, it goes by states, and my state will differ for some. I knew when I came here, I think it was $32. I think it may have increased now to probably 34, 36. And please note that for some states or hospitals, they go by experience. So if you come here with 5 years experience, they will increase that rate.
Right. Okay, so that's the same thing. For us here, I'm in Ontario, so the starting rate varies depending on if it's agencies or if it's hospitals. So average, I would say 32, 33,
right.
A maximum of 54, 53, 54, thereabout, depending on the rank that you're at.
Right.
So salary looks like pretty much the same thing. Cool. So how did you make friends now in this new country that you find was making friends?
Making friends. I can tell you that I still have contact with my old coworkers. I still have them on WhatsApp, still maintain them because they are the people who know me best too. Being an international nurse coming here, I made friends with other nurses that were on my unit. We formed a support group. So most of my friends here are the international nurses, and we have a good relationship with them on top of other people that I work with at work. And also making sure that I had a good church community. So I have church friends also, and friends that are also co-workers who have did the same process like me, but they're also in different parts of the US. So making friends wasn't a big issue for me because we know what we came here for.
Know your why and about right?
Yes.
And let's talk about entrepreneurship, because that's another thing we both have in common, right? Where we have the belief that, one stream of income is not sufficient. So you have to find other means of, creating other income streams rather than being tired and burnout doing overtime shifts. So I see that now you're very active on TikTok. I think TikTok is your main platform.
Right.
Where nurses worldwide, as you mentioned. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
All right. So I started my platform because a lot of people were asking me, how did I do my process and all of that? And I wanted people to learn also, because even though I had a bit of smooth transition, there are certain stuff that I experienced, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want other persons that are coming behind me to have a better experience and to know the things to look out for that I may have missed. So that is why I showcase that platform. And there are so many other content creators that have been on TikTok and YouTube that I have seen, and you too. And I have to say big up to you guys, because you just don't know what you're doing, the amount of people that you're helping. Because when I started, I know there were others on it. I know for TikTok, you had Subi, you had Tammy. And when I saw those girls and what they were doing, it helped me, because I said, whoa, other people out there experience what I experienced. So those platforms were created to help. I didn't know that it would take off so much that I'll be interacting with people from different countries and, international. So social media is good and it's also bad, they say, but you can find good out of it. And
Yes.
that is where the entrepreneurship now sparked in my idea and came out.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit of thing I want to preach to nurses too is that you can't have one income, and personal development is key.
Tell
You
them
have
again.
to,
Tell them again. Repeat that.
yes. Personal development is key. You have to learn to shift, to readjust.
Mhm.
I remember I went to church recently and the pastor was talking about, if you remember, Blockbuster. Many of us don't remember it in terms of movies. Now we have Netflix. It was because Blockbuster did not adjust themselves and learn the market and move along. So that's what I'm preaching to nurses and to myself to do on a daily basis, because things and times have changed and there's so much purpose in you, and you can't just limit yourself to your job. I think they
That's
say
right.
when you leave your job, your purpose is with you. But you know,
Yeah.
your job is just your job. So you never know what you can tap into when you step out.
Yes.
Somebody saw me on social media, said they see me over there dancing. I laugh. I said, I'm not just dancing over here.
It's a reason. It's a reason. You're being obedient to your purpose in this season, using your story to impact and to help others, to be a guiding light to others. And so many people have been through stuff and they want to step out there into this area of social media to make an impact, and they keep holding back. They keep fear of what people going to see them on TikTok, people going to see them on YouTube, and all these things. Like, come on, it's a new age now.
Yes. Can I tell you?
Yeah, it's a new age.
Yes. I was going to say, I was at that same space too. I was afraid. I was fearful. It took me 1 year to go on social media. My mother kept telling me, you have so much content, Abigail, go, go. You know, until I just launched one day. And the first couple of things I launched, I didn't know what meant viral. But I came back on TikTok, I saw everybody commenting. I said, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You just have to decide that you're gonna do it and be like Nike, just do it. Just yeah. So what are some words of encouragement you would tell somebody right now that's looking to migrate to the US and not sure where to go about it, how to go about it, and the process to go about it?
Some words of advice I can give them is to make sure you know your why. I'm big on that. Know why you're coming here. Make sure you're not doing it for friends or family or because you see everybody is leaving. And not because you see everybody going to one specific area, that means that that's where your pot of gold is going to lie. You can do a different trajectory, whether you want to choose to stay, and that is you. Also, make sure you do your planning, have a good support system, and there's so many of us online now, and I have to talk about that because when I was doing my process, I could hardly find people to ask. It was like a secret society, and I was asking if all of us not going the same place. You know, people didn't want to share. Nobody was talking. I was like, what is this?
Yes.
And there's so many information out there. They say it's the information age now, utilize it. So many people ask me so many questions on social media. I have no problem answering you. And if I don't know the answer, I'm referring you to somebody who can help you.
Right.
So those are some of the advice I may give. And also be prepared for the unexpected. The next thing I can tell you is make sure you know that happiness is not a destination. It doesn't mean that when you leave your country, you're going to be immediately happy.
Yeah.
Enjoy your country. Enjoy the destination. It's a journey. And one of the greatest things I'm going to tell people, especially the nurses, when I was leaving Jamaica, one of my managers said to me, because I told them I was leaving, they said to me, make sure you give care to your people, give the greatest care to your people before you leave to go to anywhere else. Yes. And when I came, I laughed at her when she said that. I said, why is sister telling me this? You see, when I came here, I had to tell myself one day, thank God I did that. Yes. And I felt the resonance with what she was saying.
Yes, the substance was there. Yes. That's good. That's good. Well, there you go. There you have it. Let us know in the comments what other questions you might have, and anything else that we might be able to help you with, because we both have the same mission, the same vision to help others and to guide you on the right pathway to your migration process. So I will link Abigail's information below. She also have a YouTube channel. Go check her out over there. She is mostly on TikTok though. She likes to do the, you know the word TikTok. So go follow her on TikTok, go follow her on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. She's all over, being a guiding light to nurses in this day and age to guide you on the right path of your migration process, right? And if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and hit the subscription button right now and turn the notification bell on, so you won't miss another of this series of helping thriving immigrants, others to thrive on their migration process. Thank you so much and stay tuned for my next video. Bye for now.